This is a humerus, or upper arm bone, from a modern-day turkey vulture. These incredible birds can have wingspans reaching up to 6 feet. You're quite likely, if you walk outside somewhere in East North America and look up in the sky, to see them soaring around with their beautiful white-tipped wings. Just an incredible bird species, and a pretty sizable one. This is that same bone from an extinct bird called Pelagornis that lived in Virginia about 10 or 15 million years ago. They had a wingspan more like 20 feet or more, and were one of the largest flying birds ever to live. And I'm here to tell their story. I'm Adam Pritchard, Assistant Curator of Paleontology at the Virginia Museum of Natural History, and this is a tale of ancient life. Ugh. Takes some energy to carry this thing around. Now, this is not the original humerus bone of Pelagornis. This is a reconstruction based on Virginia Museum fossils and some other specimens, as I'll get into later. But first, Pelagornithids. Incredible birds. Pelagornithids were an extinct family of flying birds that first appears in the fossil record shortly after the extinction of the non-bird dinosaurs 66 million years ago. The last Pelagornithids disappeared from the fossil record roughly 2 million years ago, so they had a good 60 million year run. It's pretty impressive. A lot of Pelagornithids, including our Virginia specimens, are giants, among the largest flying birds that have ever lived on the planet. But in addition to being giants, Pelagornithids were weirdos. Their skulls superficially resemble a pelican's, but when you look into their long, narrow beaks, you see that they're quite distinctive. The beaks of Pelagornithids almost look serrated because they have these little bone cones that stick out of the surface, creating what looks for all the world like little cone-shaped teeth. Even though they look like teeth, these bone cones don't have the same tissue types that real vertebrate teeth have. They are, in fact, just outgrowths of the jaw. Pseudo-teeth is what we call them. And their function may have been something like regular teeth. Pelagornithids were big soaring birds that lived in coastal environments, and they could have been really good tools for catching fish. Pelagornis is actually part of our upcoming plans at the Virginia Museum, specifically as a centerpiece in the Gene S. Adams Pavilion that's going to be constructed out back. Artist Jennifer Buckingham at the Color of Mud studio is working on a full-size reproduction of this incredible ancient bird species, an early version of which is right here. And this gives you a good sense of the proportions of the animal. That small body relative to those super long, slender wings, and you might even be able to see that serrated beak made up of those little pseudo-teeth that Pelagornithids are known for. Yeah, people who are scared of birds on a good day, don't tell them that this ever existed. Now, the bones we have of Pelagornithids from Virginia are not the most impressive things in the world. This right here is the top of the upper arm bone, the humerus that would have made up the shoulder joint. You can see in this one just how thin the walls on even a giant bird's bones are. They take a lot of pains in order to hollow out the interior of their structure. And then this here is the lower end of the humerus from a different fossil site. So these are not from the same bird, but based on their anatomy, they're really well preserved, and that allows us to compare them with other bird specimens, including better Pelagornithid skeletons. But you might wonder why we felt comfortable reconstructing the whole humerus based on just those two fragmentary specimens from Virginia. It seems like kind of a stretch. Because it's really long? I need to work more puns into these. The strange reality is, it's actually completely reasonable to reconstruct the Virginia Pelagornithid as having a humerus bone that ridiculously long. And that's thanks to comparative anatomy. Although our Virginia Pelagornithid specimens are super incomplete, there are much more complete skeletons of very similar birds known from fossil sites in South Carolina, California, and Chile. If you look at all the fine bumps and ridges that indicate the muscle scars, the attachment points for bones, the places of cartilage attachments, you can see that these Virginia pelagornithids are really similar to those much more complete pelagornithid skeletons. And if you look at those complete skeletons and those complete humeri, all of them are that ridiculously long and skinny. In a way, if we'd made the Virginia pelagornis humerus reconstruction shorter, that would have been less scientific than going with the anatomy that we see in the more complete pelagornithid skeletons. However, of course, it's true that the only way to be certain of how the Virginia pelagornis looked is to find a Virginia pelagornis skeleton. I would love to track one of these down. I do occasionally go into collections and look through the drawers to see if there's some misidentified bone that's actually a piece of one of those serrated pelagornis jaws with all those pseudo teeth. That would be an exciting find. But for now, a Virginia pelagornis skeleton remains elusive. That's something for future paleontologists to find. If you become a paleontologist, maybe you could discover that Pelagornis skeleton. I know I want to. It's been a while since I've done this, but here's a school assignment for you for any young scientists who happen to be at home. I want to find a Pelagornis skeleton, personally, but I know that might not be the kind of fossil specimen you want to find. You might want to find a Tyrannosaur skeleton, or the shell of an ancient snail, or the beak of a giant squid, or something like that. For grades K through 2, draw out that fossil specimen that you'd love to find out in the world, and identify all of its interesting features. For grades 3 and up, you do that same assignment where you draw out the fossil and then make a plan for, if you discovered it, how you would excavate it out of the ground. What are the tools you would use to dig that up? With that, I'm Adam Pritchard, and we'll be back with more tales of ancient life.